Once upon a time, the king of Banaras had a gardener who looked after his pleasure garden. Animals sometimes came into the garden from the nearby forest. The gardener complained about this to the king, who said, "If you see any strange animal, tell me at once." One day, he saw a strange kind of deer at the far end of the garden. When he saw the man, he ran like the wind. This is why they are called wind deer. They are a rare breed that are extremely timid. They are very easily frightened by human beings. The gardener told the king about the wind deer. He asked the gardener if he could catch the rare animal. He replied, "My lord, if you give me some bees' honey, I could even bring him into the palace." So the king ordered that he be given as much bees' honey as he wanted. This particular wind deer loved to eat the flowers and fruits in the king's pleasure garden. The gardener let himself be seen by him little by little, so he could be less frightened. Then he began to smear honey on the grass where the wind deer usually came to eat. Sure enough, the deer began eating the honey smeared grass. Soon he developed a craving for the taste of this honey grass. The craving made him come to the garden every day. Before long, he could eat nothing else. Little by little, the gardener came closer and closer to the wind deer. At first, he would run away, but later, he lost his fear and came to think the man was harmless. As the gardener became more and more friendly, eventually, he got the deer to eat the honey grass right out of his hand. He continued doing this for some time in order to build up his confidence and trust. Meanwhile, the gardener had rows of curtains set up, make a wide pathway from the far end of the pleasure garden to the king's palace. From inside this pathway, the curtains would keep the wind deer from seeing any people that might scare him. When all was prepared, the gardener took a bag of grass and a container of honey with him. Again, he began hand-feeding the wind deer when he appeared. Gradually, he led the wind deer into the curtained-off pathway. Slowly, he continued to lead him with the honey grass until finally the deer followed him right into the palace. Once inside the palace, guards closed the doors and the wind deer was trapped. Seeing the people of the court, he suddenly became very frightened and began running around, madly trying to escape. The king came down to the hall and saw the panic-stricken wind deer. He said, "What a wind deer! How could he have gotten into such a state?" A wind deer is an animal who will not return to a place where he has so much as seen a human for 7 full days. Ordinarily, if a wind deer is at all frightened in a particular place, he will not return for the whole rest of his life. But look, even such a shy wild creature can be enslaved by his craving for the taste of something sweet. Then he can be lured into the center of the city and even inside the palace itself. My friends, the teachers warn us not to be too attached to the place we live, for all things pass away. They say that being too attached to a small circle of friends is confining, but restricts a broad outlook. But see how much more dangerous is the simple craving for a sweet flavor or any other taste sensation. See how this beautiful shy animal was trapped by his own gardener by taking advantage of his craving for taste. Not wishing to harm the gentle wind deer, the king had him released into the forest. He never returned to the royal pleasure garden, and he never missed the taste of honey grass. The moral is, it is better to eat to live than to live to eat. Once upon a time, there was a herd of forest deer. In this herd was a wise and respected teacher, cunning in the ways of deer. He taught the tricks and strategies of survival to the young fawns. One day, his younger sister brought her son to him to be taught what is so important for deer. She said, "Oh brother teacher, this is my son. Please teach him the tricks and strategies of deer." The teacher said to the fawn, "Very well, you can come at this time tomorrow for your first lesson." At first, the young deer came to the lessons as he was supposed to, but soon he became more interested in playing with the other young bucks. He didn't realize how dangerous it could be for a deer who learned nothing but deer games. So he started cutting classes. So he was playing hooky all the time. Unfortunately, one day the fawn who played hooky stepped in a snare and was trapped. Since he was missing, his mother worried. She went to her brother, the teacher, and asked him, "My dear brother, how is my son? Have you taught your nephew the tricks and strategies of deer?" The teacher replied, "My dear sister, your son was disobedient and unteachable. Out of respect for you, I tried my best to teach him, but he did not want to learn the tricks and strategies of deer. He played hooky. How could I possibly teach him? You are obedient and faithful, but he is not. It is useless to try to teach him." Later, they heard the sad news. The stubborn fawn who played hooky had been trapped and killed by a hunter. He skinned him and took the meat home to his family. The moral is, nothing can be learned from a teacher by one who misses the class.